Are you tired of your portrait drawings looking flat and lifeless? Or there's one key element that can take your artwork from mediocre to a whole other level of amazing. In this video, I'm going to talk about the principle of editing out information. Hi, Carrie Alves here, and welcome back to the channel where we explore all things portraiture. One of the biggest hurdles that I see, especially with new students when they're trying very hard to create realistic drawings, is they get really caught up in slavishly trying to copy every little detail from their reference photos. And it doesn't matter if we're talking about eyelashes or hair or fingernails or teeth or, putting in the entire background. But I'm here to tell you that the secret to creating beautiful, realistic portraits is actually less is more. Trust me, you will thank me. It's a lot less work and you will see a dramatic improvement in your drawings. Stop copying everything from your reference images and start interpreting them instead and editing out a lot of unnecessary information and thereby creating a focal point. This demo is taken from my course, Draw a Portrait from Your Own Photo, where you'll learn not only how to recognize or take a great image for your portrait artwork, but also how to effectively work from photographs. This is where we're going to talk about the whole issue of editing. And this is what I call one of the 7 key principles of realism. So once we've dealt with a lot of our details, where we get into building our form and working our values and then our shapes within shapes, then at a certain point we have to make a decision how much information that we're going to keep and what stays and what goes. And I have found that it's really necessary to do a lot of that editing for a number of different reasons. A, to keep a focal point in the piece. Also, there's going to be information when you're using photo reference that you're not going to necessarily want to keep in. Like for instance, even just the shoulder there that I put in, I just didn't like the way it looked. Same with what I'm seeing with the hands and a lot of details with the hair. So we do not want to be slavishly copying our reference material. This is not about making work that is photorealistic. I personally don't see the point of doing photorealism, but personally I've never been a fan of it. So I just kind of feel like you need to at a certain point make decisions, and they're aesthetic decisions about how you're going to treat certain elements so that it isn't just this kind of same flat thing all the way across. For instance, by keeping the hair very simple, and mind you the photo reference keeps it simple too, but I find that quite often I keep a lot of my hair very simple. So by keeping this simple, all the focus goes on the face. And also by keeping the hands not as detailed as the face, they won't detract. And one of the big areas that I really don't want to get into is here. I don't want to make a strong contrast right there. I feel like it's going to pull the eye away from where I want it to be in the face. And even still looking at this, I may even push these darks a little darker near the end. So, and I can tell already just looking at this that less is more in this case. It's really just about playing with it until you see what looks right. I don't think there's a formula for it, to be very honest. I personally haven't found there to be a formula for it. I've just found that it's just something you have to fuss with until you start seeing that enough is enough. And I think it's like seasoning food or putting accessories on with your clothing or something. There are certain ground rules, but it's not a hard science. It's a matter of personal taste and just seeing what the individual piece can bear. So I'm going to start here. Let's start with some darks in here. And this part of her hand kind of goes like this. So I'm putting it in with my 4H. Starting to get a sense of do I want it or not. And I think this line is too heavy that's around it, so I'm going to pull that line back. And right now I'm thinking I'll just do delicate. That's kind of the way I'm going to approach this. Really delicate. So that it's there's some detail, but the detail isn't going to distract from the main event. As I continue to develop the drawing, I choose to use very, very hard and very light pencils to work up my shading. I don't want it as dark and dramatic as it is in the face because it will pull away from the focal point of the face. So it's much more delicate, and I decide how far I'm going to take it. I even leave the bottom 2 fingers almost completely undeveloped, just a little bit of shading and giving it a sense of form or three-dimensionality. I choose how much detail I want to put in the fingernails, just suggesting them, not getting too caught up in the details, and I completely eliminate the back of the hand, any reference to it whatsoever, so that it doesn't create a hard line and therefore become a distraction from the rest of the drawing and the central focus, which is the face. And I'm very happy just to let this part of the image just vignette totally off. So I've taken away any sort of external boundaries here for this hand, so it just kind of literally fades. And I think I like that. I like this balance between this completely sort of lost edge in here and this really hardly defined shape in here and along the edge of this face, how it's quite strongly delineated in here. So this gives a balance back and forth of different elements, and this is all I want for this right now as I'm getting into it. So I'm just going to make a few little nuances here in the line along there to get a little character. So that's the kind of interesting push-pull that you get in a piece. Some places you're working them to death. There's a lot of effort that's gone into it. In other places you have to really like stop already, you know, and not beat it to death, and sometimes take stuff away because it's just not serving the piece. Well, thanks very much for watching. And this tutorial was taken from a full course that I offer on my Patreon site called Draw a Portrait from Your Own Photo. So if you would like to develop the skills to draw beautiful and realistic portraits, you can. Simply go to the Patreon link in the description below and find out how. Why not give it a try and unlock your creative potential? So before we wrap up, I'd like to invite you to like, share, and subscribe to the channel for more art-related content. And if you like, please share the images that you create from the Patreon course in the comments below. I would really like to see them. Thanks very much for watching. And remember, stay creative. This is your time to express yourself. And we'll see you in the next video.